Run, party, repeat. Welcome to the East Coast Adventures Dirt and Vert Podcast, where we talk all things running, racing, and training to help you get ready for your next big adventure.
Learn from our successes and our failures, and have fun at the same time. Join us right here every week with inspiring guests who share their captivating tales from the trails. And remember, nobody cares.
Run faster. All right, welcome back to the Dirt and Vert Podcast. I'm David.
And I'm Matt.
And we have, fresh from the Barkley, Jason Bailey. He's probably slept about 4 hours at this point. I don't really know. He grew that beard just trying to do the loop at Barkley.
Yeah, it took that long. Can you see?
But Jason, thank you for jumping on here with us and talking about who you are and how you got into running, and we'll get into all of that. But, I just want to say congratulations for getting an invite to run at the Barkley and getting to do that experience. That's something that not a lot of people are ever even going to get the opportunity to do. So really cool, regardless of any outcome, whether you finish a loop or 3 loops, doesn't matter. Like, the experience is something that will stay with you forever. So it's really cool that you got that opportunity. And I'll back up now and say, just looking at your ultra sign-up list, you're obviously a talented runner.
Yeah.
You've got a bunch of podiums on here. You basically, looks like from 2020 forwards, really, when you got into ultra running.
That's right.
And, looks like you've started out right out of the gate doing pretty well. And I'm sure that we'll learn some stories about maybe how some of these went. But overall, it looks like you've had a pretty good career so far, like very talented, lots of podiums. So can't wait to learn more about you. So, Jason, if you don't care, tell us about who you are and how you got into running.
Yeah, cool. Started about 10 years ago, I think, maybe 11 years ago running. I started out on the trails, kind of like in Spartan races. If you've ever done one of those or experienced a Spartan race, I started out with those, and I got real interested in that and tried to be competitive at the Spartans, and did a few of those. Did a circuit where you do like a sprint, and then I forget what they call it. You got the sprint, and then you got the next step up, and then the next step up, and you do all those in a series, and you get this special jacket or something like that. So that's kind of where I started out. It was more of a CrossFit kind of thing, that I did back then, and with the Spartans. And then I got the wild idea that just maybe I should try to qualify for Boston someday and run the Boston Marathon. So I switched from trails to roads, and in an attempt to get faster. And that was probably like, I don't know, around 2016 or something like that, maybe 2017, that I switched over to roads and started marathon training, trying to get faster. And actually, I thought, well, I'll just hire a coach. So I hired my first coach, Bobby Holcomb, and he trains me in the marathon, and had some really, really good experiences with that. So went and ran my first marathon. And actually, before I started coaching, let me back up just a little bit. Before Bobby started coaching me, I ran my first marathon. That was the Rock and Roll Marathon in New Orleans.
Wow.
Yep. So I trained myself for that marathon, not knowing a thing about what I was doing. And it was rough. Let me tell you, it was a rough experience, running that race down in New Orleans. It was so hot. I just remember it took me like, I don't know, maybe 5 hours was my first marathon or something like that. Maybe close to 5 hours was my time. And then from there, I went and started training harder. Like, I thought I could get a lot faster. I was pretty confident I could. And just, I was all in, I guess you could say, all in on the marathon training. Went and ran the Indianapolis Marathon, qualified for Boston right out the gate, qualified for Boston. Ran like I can't remember. I think maybe my qualifying time was 3:30. I don't know. Does that sound right? I can't remember.
They
But
change it so much you can't.
yeah, I know they change it all the time. So maybe that was my qualifying time at Indianapolis, and went and ran Boston. Had a great time up there. Wasn't the race that I had hoped for, because if you've ever run Boston, you know what a grueling course it is. Everybody says, "Oh, it's downhill, fast course, downhill," but boy, those hills, those Newton hills, get you. So I experienced that, and then I went and ran I think after that I went back to Indianapolis, ran a 248 PR marathon. And that's still my PR to this day, is in a 248 in the marathon. And then went back to Boston, got injured, actually didn't even finish the race. Had a hamstring injury, had to pull out. So, bad day, second time at Boston. And then, got into the trails at my first race. It was Cloud Splitter, 100K. That was my first ultra race. I went right to the 100K. After everybody's like, you should start with a 50K. I'm like, no. I'm just going to go straight for the 100K. I went straight into the 100K, and it was fun. I did it with some friends. We nicknamed ourselves the Muscle Sheep. We have the Muscle Sheep Club. That's Aaron Clark, Brandon McCloy, and myself, and Aaron Harris. And we all had such a blast doing that. It was just kind of silly. It's a silly thing. We even had hats made.
Wow.
Yeah. And, and I guess I competed well at that race, but it being my first experience, it was all learning. And then I went on to do several other races, started getting more competitive, jumped into the 100-miler at Pistol, tried to go fast there, went a little too fast to begin with, and still ended up running 18-hour and something 100-mile race at Pistol, and went out to Bryce Canyon, ran a race at elevation, another learning experience. When you go out there and you're not used to elevation, we go up to like 9,000 something feet out there. It's nothing to some people, but man, when you're out here on the East Coast, you're training, and the highest you can get is like 6,600 feet, and you can't stay there long. You don't live up there. So going out there and running at Bryce Canyon was rough. I don't know, I might have come in like 40th place out there or something.
It was 40th place.
Is that right?
Good memory.
I can remember that. And then after that, I did another few races here and there, 50Ks and stuff, and won a few of them. Went and ran the Rim Runner last year, 100-mile race, and won it. It was a fun race, man. That race is, I had a blast at that race. And you know what? I had a new coach at that time. Mary Cates was coaching me, and she really helped me on the ultra side of things, and taught me how to eat. We got in the weight room. We started getting stronger, and I was on the wait list for Barkley last year and didn't get in, and went and ran this race. So went and won it. And then I was like, man, got to try again to get into Barkley. So this year was the year, and boy, what an experience it was. But that's kind of I don't know, I probably skipped a few races that I didn't remember, but it's kind of the highlights. I don't know. There was a backyard race that I did that I didn't talk about. I didn't win it, but the asphalt there was rough. It got me. It was the Mad Backyard Ultra.
Yep. You didn't win it, but you finished third. That's pretty damn good for your first backyard.
Yeah, that was the first backyard I'd ever done. So the strategy was all different. It all felt different, stopping and starting and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that was it was fun though.
Let's talk about this very first cloud splitter.
Sure.
So you go from I can run a marathon to I'm just going to try to do two of them.
Yeah, that's right. That's how my brain works. I just go all in.
how how is now? I know you ran it with friends, so you probably
Yes.
weren't like racing it, but you were probably still trying to do it. Do decent. Was there was there a big transition difference? Like, did you have any issues in the 100K? Like going from all these marathons to 100K trail run,
Yeah.
that probably felt like running 100 miles, to be honest, when you switched to trail.
Yeah, so the biggest thing was teaching myself to eat. That was the biggest thing. You gotta learn how to eat. You gotta train your stomach just like you train any muscle in your body. You gotta train your stomach to eat during those long races. And that's what I did. We went up there and just we trained in the Smokies, uh on the trails in the Smokies, up and down the mountains, getting as much vert as we could for Cloud Splitter. Actually, had never run an ultra before Cloud Splitter, and I ran my first ultra in training for Cloud Splitter on one day out in the mountains, and then we went up there and ran 100K, and my buddies had done some ultras before. Brandon McCloy, he had done some ultras before, so he was beneficial to me in helping me, um, to in the training process, really, and getting out on the trails, stuff like that. Huge benefit. But training my stomach was the biggest thing at Cloud Splitter. I went through some low times, man. There's some low times that I went through at Cloud Splitter, and uh, someone would come along and encourage me. That's what I like about trails. Someone will come along and encourage you and pick you back up and get you back going. And then my wife, she's my ultimate crew person. She's like, it's like a NASCAR race when I come into the crew area. She's like zipping my tires off and putting them back on and getting me right back out there, changing my water bottles. So she was huge. She's huge at all these trail races that I go to. She's the ultimate crew, but she had to learn that year too. So we both learned. I learned how to not be grumpy, and she learned how to deal with me in the race and during the race, because I can get real grumpy when I'm not feeling the best.
Yeah.
But
Grumpy
man,
and hangry.
Yep.
hangry, maybe that's the best way to describe it. Hangry. I was hangry. I hadn't, that was the worst part of it. Just learning how to eat, how to get through those low times when you're just feeling like you just can't go on. But you can go on. You got to train your mind as well
Yep.
to get through those things. I'll tell you the funniest thing that happened to me at Cloud Splitter though, on my very first ultra race, is at the end of the night, going towards the finish line, probably 4 miles away, my headlamp dies out in the middle of nowhere. And I'm by myself. Brandon runs off and leaves me. I'm like, I see him trotting off down through there. And my headlamp dies. And I'm like, can't, I have to fumble through my bag to find these batteries and change my headlamp. And it took me, it seems like forever, out in the middle of nowhere in the dark. There was no other light. And so that was an interesting experience. I learned from that too. I now carry two headlamps with me.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, boy, that if you've ever had to experience that, that sucks. Like to be out in the middle of nowhere and then your headlamp go dead.
And have
like,
your cell phone only. You're
yeah.
trying to run with your cell phone line.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I did. That's happened to me more than once. I'm like I'm a glutton for it. I just think it can't happen again, and then it happens again. Like I was out in the Smokies one day. We were doing the Scar. You know what the Scar is? It's the Appalachian Trail from one end of the Smokies to the other. It's like 72 miles long, and I did that one day. and my headlamp died, and I was like trying to use my cell phone out there. Man, I learned the hard way. Let me tell you.
Man, that's gnarly enough with a headlamp.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was for sure a death march, I'm sure, or a lot of tripping.
Man, yeah, that's right. When you can't see anything with a cell phone, your cell phone light.
Yep.
And you know what's kind of cool is like you've done so well in most of your races. So, Cloud Splitter, your very first 100K, you were fourth. Solly Ultra 50K, you won. Pistol Ultra 100 miler, you won. Iron Mountain 40 miler in Damascus, you were sixth. That race has got some serious elevation.
That was a hot day. I had to deal with some heat that day, man. I'll tell you that. That's my ultimate weakness, and I'm gonna have to face it one of these days. Is this heat that just kills me, man. When I'm in those hot races, I'm just such a pansy.
You can come face it at Cherokee.
We got if you look at our schedule, we do a lot of these hot races.
Yeah. It's so funny.
I noticed that. Y'all must really like that stuff.
Well, I'll tell you that story here in a minute. But Iron Mountain, you were sixth. Cloud Splitter 100K first. Mad Backyard, the one we talked about, you were third. Fall Creek Falls 50K first, and then Rim Runner 100 miler, you were first. So it's a pretty awesome record. I mean, just our list of races. I mean, that's really cool. I mean, you got 8 trophies in 11 races on there. It's pretty dang good. It's pretty good stats.
Yep.
Now, real quick, the reason we started races in the summer, though, Jason, was we started when you started your ultra journey is when we started East Coast Adventures.
Yep.
Okay.
2020. We started it in COVID.
Yeah.
We were that lucky. But we had Mike and I had started. We found this area called the Fort, or the Fort, in Vonore, Tennessee, and Fort Loudon State Park, and we had always talked about maybe putting a race on there as our first race, and we got approvals. We were looking through. We're friends with a lot of race directors, so we're trying not to step on anybody's toes. We're the new guys out here, and obviously, where's the easiest place to put a race on where you're not going to step on anybody's toes? In the summer.
Yeah, that's right. There's
so most of our races, like when we first started, we were trying to like work around our friends' races and stuff like that. But now there's so many races, you can't even do that. No. Like it's great that the sport has taken off this much to where that is the problem, but it kind of sucks in a way too, because, just like, Brian Gages and Gordon, as soon as they found out we were putting on the World's Fair, Brian called me because they were working on a race for the last year while we were working on a race for the last year. We released the races the same month, and they're on the same date. So, Southern Grits in Kentucky and then the World's Fair at Knoxville are on the exact same day. And, it's not, it's like we were talking about, it's not a big deal as far as runners go, because runners are going to run what they want. Some people want to run a track or a course or a road. Some want to run a trail. But where it sucks is the volunteers. A lot of the same volunteers come to both races. And that's why that's what is hard about it. It's like you start running out of people. So it's like immediately Brian and Gordon and all of us were like, we're going to coordinate next year and make sure we at least put them a week apart, because it's the same group. And we usually help Brian and Gordon, and they usually help us. So we really shafted both of ourselves this time.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. It was so funny because neither one of us knew that the other one was planning a race, or we had to check. Yep. It's just so funny.
That's hilarious. Way to go, guys.
I know, right? So now let's talk a little bit. So you got into trail running, into ultras, I should say, in 2020. You had Bobby as a coach for the marathon, and Bobby's a great coach. He's a really good coach. I'd say the two best coaches in this whole region are probably Mary and Bobby, or at least two of the biggest coaches.
Agreed.
and they both have very good strengths in different things.
Mhm.
And Bobby's been a lot of people's marathon coach, especially around the Knoxville area, for many years.
Yeah.
And then Mary, she was a CrossFit coach or CrossFit, then got into, she's an ultra coach and all kinds of things. And so started doing strength training with her. And I say all that to say this, like, man, can Mary write some hard strength workouts or what?
Yeah, but man, I love it. I do, man. That is so beneficial. Do you know how beneficial, man, that strength work has been to me? It is amazing. I can attest. It is amazing.
Yeah. So, Mary has not written my strength training in 3 years. She's wrote my run training.
Yeah.
But this year I told her, like, we were talking, I was like, just go ahead and write my strength training. Cause I keep doing the same stuff over and over and over. Like, long before I was a runner, all I did was work out.
Yep.
I just lifted weights. So, and that's a whole different type of lifting weights than what
Right.
I should be doing.
Yeah.
Right.
So now Mary's writing my strength training, and I mean, like, there's been 1 or 2 workouts in the last month I've had to Google. I'm like, what the hell is that?
I do that every time she sends one to me. I'm Googling, like, what is this?
Yep.
But man, she's so good at it. Like, so good at it. And I can already tell a difference in how I feel, which is cool.
It's amazing. I feel amazing. I noticed it out on the trail in the race. I noticed it.
Mm-hmm. And I will tell you, she has helped so many people with stomach training. It's she's definitely good at that. So, and you're right. What you said earlier was spot on. Like, when you get into ultras, like, training your stomach is so hard to figure out.
Yep.
And everybody is so much different in what they need and take. And, like, even from hydration, like how much water and electrolytes you should be taking with food, etc. And it's, I mean, man, it's so hard. And I remember my first 100K, it was about the same time as yours, and like, we could probably run 100K much faster than that now. But back then you're like, it's a death march because you can't eat.
You don't know how. You don't know how.
I remember my first 100K, it was miserable. Like, it was, I mean, I enjoyed it, but like, it was miserable because, like, you wanted to run. You just didn't have any energy to run because you couldn't eat.
Can't find it. Can't find it. Yeah.
So funny. But, full circle now, like, we come all the way around, and like, Mary's your coach, you've been training, and I know that you've been wanting to get into Barkley.
And I wanted Barkley. That has been my ultimate goal for so many years, is to get into Barkley. It's been like the end game goal for me, is to get into Barkley. So yeah.
Well, in game that's just starting.
Exactly. Yeah. Now I'm ready to do it again because I want redemption.
Well, they say you have to do it a few times for you really, really do start doing well at it. So, I mean, that's cool.
That is spot on. Yeah.
But like last year, you were super close to getting in, if I know this correct. Is that right?
Yeah. So last year I was, I guess, I don't know. So Laz doesn't tell us where we're at on the list. We just know we're on the list. Okay. So I don't really know how close I was, other than I was on the list last year, the wait list, what he calls the wait list, just waiting to get called up, but it didn't happen. So it was a disappointment, but it was closer than I had ever been to getting into the Barkley. So I knew I had to keep trying. And that's when I went and ran the rim runner. I was like, I got to use what I've trained for to go do something. So I went and did the rim runner and ended up winning it. So I added it to my resume.
Yeah.
I love it.
How many years did you try? Like, I know you wanted to get in, but how many years did you actually like put in to try to get in?
I've tried to get in. I think this would have been my 4th try and got in this year. So to get in the Barkley, it's multi-year process to get in the Barkley. Anybody that wants to. I personally don't know anybody. I'm sure there's some. I personally don't know anybody that's got in on their first try. I think it's
Yeah.
a multi-year thing to get in. It is for me.
Yeah.
It was for me, anyways.
Yeah, I think the only other way you can get in is to win bigs.
That's true. You can work your way in it.
And I think that's
You
probably harder than just filling out the application.
well, and you can win the Fall Classic. That's
Oh,
two
yeah,
ways to get
true.
in.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fall Classic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whew. Yeah. So
You
four
gotta finish
four
the Fall Classic
tries,
first.
4 tries, and then you get in on the 5th try.
The fourth try. I get in on the fourth try.
Okay.
So
Oh,
four try.
so this year, when did you find out you were in?
The announcement came in November. So that's when training started.
Man, I couldn't imagine knowing that and not being able to tell, the world. Like, I'm in. And
No,
just go,
that's the hardest thing.
Yeah.
Really, it is. It's the hardest thing to be so secretive, and it's a secret race.
Yeah.
What did you think when you saw the date? Because that's way different.
It was way different, and I thought, man, nobody will guess the date, because previous years everybody has guessed the date of
Yeah.
Barkley, or at least they've gotten close, because they think, oh, it's going to be in April. It's going to be April Fool's Day. That's that's what the day is. It's going to be the Barkley. But no, this year was the big surprise, was having it in February. Like, nobody saw it coming. And that was, whenever I got I heard about the date, in November, I'm like, man, that is super early. We don't have long. We've got to get to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, that did. I mean, I didn't think about that, but that did cut your training cycle down a lot.
Yeah.
Big time. From 2 months or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that's a big difference when you're training for
Especially
something like that.
With that winter weather that we had, where you couldn't really get out
Don't
anywhere.
yeah.
I mean, the Smokies are closed, half of it. You can't drive.
Yeah, so I still got out. Let me tell you guys, I still got out and trained because I had to. You have to.
Right. You got to be prepared for anything.
Yeah.
That race isn't getting
Any
canceled.
any condition, they're not canceling that race, no matter what happens. It can be the worst possible weather with a tornado, and I think Laz would still have the race.
Makes a better story.
He'd laugh
I
at
don't-
you as you came by.
yeah.
Everybody be looking around. He'll light the cigarette.
That's right.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked, when it was February. Like, I would never have thought.
Yeah.
Nobody could have guessed it this year, and I think that's what they went after, the element of surprise.
When I woke up and social media blows up, when that thing goes off, social media goes crazy, and it said
Yep.
the cigarette was lit. I'm like, well, this is a little earlier than usual.
Man, I the anticipation of that date has been just immense to me.
Yeah.
The last several months, just trying to keep it a secret, man. It has been something else to do that.
Did you have to do some special stuff for your wife for Valentine's Day?
Well, I owe her big for Valentine's Day. I'm indebted hugely.
You got the ultimate gift. I don't know about
Yeah,
her.
yeah. No, she didn't. Man, she was waiting on me. She expected me. Oh, we'll go into this, I'm guessing, here in a few minutes. But man, she was waiting on me forever and didn't know where I was. And it was I owe her big time.
How hard was it for her? Like, I guess you got to share the date with her for being your crew. But how hard was it for her not to, people at work or her friends and family?
Yeah, it's hard. So you're not even allowed to tell your family. Laz is like, you just got to show up here and and he's like, you just need to, you have to kidnap your crew and take them with you. But he only allows one crew member.
Yeah, that's a new rule. I don't know how I feel about that one.
I know, guys, you miss out on stuff, and This year, I think the main reason that he only allowed one crew member was because Frozen Head was closed, and we like the campground was actually closed, and we are the only ones that had access to it. So there was no reserving campsites. You couldn't go on their website and predict the date of the
Oh,
Barkley because all the campsites were blocked off. You know,
Well,
nobody's allowed to camp there right now.
he also changed it that way to Big's backyard. He only
Did
allowed
he?
one.
Okay,
Yeah, because
one crew member.
I was supposed to crew Ron, and they're only allowed one crew member on site at a time. So we were going to have to swap in the parking lot. You're not
yeah.
even allowed, like two people are not even allowed on the premises. Like we had to swap outside.
Well,
Yeah.
So
Well, they
that
had
might be his new rule going forward. But man, for the
It could be.
Barkley, I feel like you need
yeah, you need a couple
at least two people
Yeah.
because like you don't know how long you're going to be out there.
No, Stephanie had to sit up just as long as I was out there waiting. She didn't know when I was going to come back into camp. There was no way for me to tell her when I was going to come back into camp. I have no communication out
So
there.
could you, if you only have a one crew, you couldn't like switch out crew?
I don't know if he would have allowed that or not. We didn't ask that question.
Yeah.
They had her on a list, and they had me on a list, and we got checked in at the gate when we arrived there at Frozen Head
Wow.
on Friday afternoon, and no one else was allowed past that gate. So
Wow.
it's pretty strict.
Maybe
Yeah.
that was just maybe it was just because of the restrictions on the camping
Are
and
they?
stuff then.
And,
But
I think it had a lot to do with it this
Are
year.
they redoing those campsites to put RV spots in?
Can't tell. It's not far enough along, but it's going to be nice, whatever they're doing, because
Because
they've got
that's what I
it.
heard with the Fall Classic, where they couldn't start in the park because they were redoing the campground.
Yeah, the whole
Somebody-
campground is getting
Somebody
redone.
said that somewhere in one of the things. So they started at the prison, I think, for the Fall Classic this year.
That's
now, have you
right. I
never
think
done-
they did.
You've never done the Barkley Fall Classic, right?
No, and let me tell you guys why. It's because it's hot. I've got to face that demon one of these days.
Yeah, I was gonna say that would actually be good training for you if you're
Yeah.
going to keep trying to get into,
Yeah,
that'd be good.
yeah,
training.
yeah.
'Cause I
yeah.
mean,
Oh,
every
yeah.
year he changes that route too,
Yeah.
so it just better prepares you mentally for whatever he's going to throw at you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I guess anytime anybody can do the Fall Classic, it's going to be good training for the
Yeah.
Barkley.
Yep.
Well, let's talk about that morning then. So, like, well, hang on first. How was like getting there and going and checking in? Like, was that kind of nostalgic? What did that feel like?
It
Or what did it
was.
look like?
So everybody sees the pictures of the license plates hung up. The nostalgia of all that is there. It just hits you big when you see that. You just know that moment is huge to you because the nostalgia of it. And then you go and check in, and you have to. The entry is a license plate. You have to go take your license plate. That's the entry. So other than the $1.60 that I had to send in, that's what it costs to get in is $1.60, and then the license plate. And so, the nostalgia of turning in your license plate and him handing you your race bib that has the number on it.
Yep.
And no, I was not bib number one. There was someone else that was bib number one. And if you don't know what bib number one is, that means you're the human sacrifice for
So,
that year.
I got a story with that real quick. So we were in Vol State. 2023.
Mhm.
And there was a lady named Kaz, and I ran probably 200 something miles with her. And she ran Barkley 1 year. She got number one.
Uh-huh.
So when whatever she did, she explained herself. She didn't talk about racing. And so when she got the bib number one, they didn't know her history, her background, until they got there. And she had won all these big races, Tahoe 200. She finished like second and third or all this. But she got bib number one, and she was so like, why am I bib number one? I've got these good results.
Someone has to be the sacrifice.
Yep.
She was the lucky one.
She was the
Yeah.
one.
Well, obviously, running experience doesn't matter too much
At the Barkley, no, because until you've done it, you don't know the experience. Yeah.
Right. So So you took your license plate and you paid the $1.60. And then did Laz say anything to you?
I can't remember exactly what Laz had to say about the check-in. He was just kind of mingling around, talking to everybody. Um, it wasn't nothing official, but it was really cool to get to talk to Laz. He's always witty. He's really witty about what he says. Um, and I can't remember exactly. It's kind of fuzzy to me what he had to say, but it was something about me being a local guy. He's like, "Yo, you're a local guy. So you've been training out here." I'm like, "Yeah, I got to train out here." He's like, "Well, you're about to see some stuff you've never seen before." I was like, "Okay, all right." He said, "You're going to see some stuff that you could never imagine." And I was like, all right, challenge accepted. And I think that's what he said to me. And he was right.
So you get checked in, and then at this point, though, you don't really know when the race is going to start, right?
Not at all. Within a 12-hour window when the race is going to start. So it can start anywhere from midnight till noon the next day. All right. So, you know, all you sit around at camp all day long, you socialize. It's like a big family, really, out there. It's not that many people there. There's 40 runners, 40 crew members, plus Laz's people, him and Carl and a few others. They have a chicken barbecue that night, and then the other runners bring something if they're from another country, they bring something to share that they fixed, and it's really, really fun. And you'll have a good meal the night before the race, because all this food is just like a potluck. It's a big spread that everybody just shares and sit around and talk around the campfire. And then you sit, it gets a little bit later, it gets dark. You go to your tent, you lay down, and you try to sleep. But sleeping doesn't come easy when you're anticipating running the Barkley in what could be less than 4 or 5 hours at midnight. You're waiting on that conch shell to blow. And this year the conch blew at 5 a.m.
5 a.m. How cold was it at 5 a.m.?
I think it was like 35 degrees, so it wasn't
not terrible. That's not
terrible. To me, actually, that's kind of ideal.
But
My ideal running conditions. Yeah, I'm like, this is going to be good. It's 35 degrees, but when you get up top, it was like, I don't know, it got up to like 50 something during the day after we started, it was nice. It was nice weather. Until it wasn't later in the race. It started raining. It got like 25 degrees. The wind was howling. It's amazing how fast the weather can change at Frozen Head. And it changed. It went south in a hurry.
Mm.
So the conch blows, the race. How long is it? Like when the conch blows, how long do you have? I can't remember.
You have 1 hour to get ready after the conch blows. 1 hour, and that's a quick hour. Once that conch blows, that hour goes by. It feels like 5 minutes.
Yeah, you're scrambling, like trying to get shit ready. Like, it's getting real. It's getting real.
Yeah, Stephanie gets up. She starts cooking breakfast. I get to eat a good breakfast because she's got breakfast cooked. You're getting all your gear on. You don't want to forget anything. Heaven forbid you forget anything, because, man, you don't know how long you're going to be out there.
Yeah. Jeez.
You got to take so much gear. It's such a heavy pack, and so much gear to take.
So, all right, and then you all lined up. Had you been studying the map at this point?
Yeah. So Laz gives you the map the night before, and you get to copy it. He has the master map sitting there. You get to copy it onto your own map. So you have to be really careful to copy the map correctly, because that's all you get. That's all you get. And your compass is all you get. There's no GPS. There's no cell phone. Even if you've trained in Frozen Head, just as I had, there's no trail to follow. So you're not going to follow a trail. So all you have is the map, and there's a course description. It's a typed course description that they type up that you have to read to and basically memorize this course description. And it's like 15 pages long.
Wow.
You sit there for hours.
You don't get a copy of that.
Yes, actually you do. You get a copy of it, and you can carry it with you. Yep. You carry the course description and your own map with you.
Running the 100 yards, pull out the thing.
And you do that. You do. The course description comes in handy when you're looking for your books, because it describes where the books are going to be hid, what the area looks like around the books. It describes that. Yeah.
Man.
Wow.
So, and I heard this year was completely different.
It was completely different. It was. The start line was in a totally different place because of the campground being under construction. We didn't start at the yellow gate where everybody normally starts. So we had our own. Laz made his own yellow gate out of another type of gate. I mean, you probably saw the pictures of this yellow gate, which was cool. I mean, it was really neat. I mean, it said "do not" or "enter" or something like that. Whatever the yellow gate is.
Do not block gate.
Do not block gate. Yeah. And it was neat. So yeah, everything was different this year. The start line was different. We went counterclockwise this year. That's the first year, I think, in my understanding. That's the first year
that's what
that
I heard.
they've ever went counterclockwise. So that was different.
So when he lit the cigarette, did you try to like PR your 5K so that you could say you led the Barkley?
All right. So no, I didn't try to PR my 5K, but I couldn't believe when we started that race how fast everybody was running. I thought, man, is this the pace for the Barkley? If this is the pace for the Barkley, I'm in trouble because everybody was running so fast and running down that trail. But we were running downhill. It was downhill until we went up on the first climb, which was, I don't know, maybe a mile away or something like that. And everybody, yeah, man, no, I wasn't no PR in a 5K, but I couldn't believe how fast everybody was running out the gate right there. It's just because we were all so excited.
Yep.
It didn't last long. When we got to that first climb, it's so steep. That pace didn't last long. So Laz said we should PR our 5K, from camp on the first climb. We should PR our 5K is what he says. But no, I didn't PR my 5K that day.
Well, dang.
And you were, we talked a little bit before we started the podcast. And how long were you out there?
So I was out there 27 hours and some change.
Okay. And that was
on
one
the course.
loop.
It was one loop. Yes, it was.
Okay. At what point, so you're running down the hill, like y'all are moving pretty quick, like at a quick clip, and you're like, oh shit, is this the Barkley? And then when did like reality set in, like, I'm not going to finish this loop?
Well, so, I mean, I expected to finish the loop in 10 hours, okay? I took enough gear. So I took enough food and everything. I guess this was my inexperience, okay? I'm a Barkley virgin, or was. And so I took enough food for 10 hours, but I was out there for 27.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. But man, I felt good the whole time. I'll tell you, I did. I felt good. I was just glad to be out there. But we were doing really well up until we made a wrong turn and couldn't find a book. And we searched.
How far was that? Do you know, like what book?
It was on the fifth book, I believe. We had found 5. Yeah, it was on the fifth book. And there was 16 books this year. But
16, holy cow.
Yeah. So we found. So let me just say, we decided after that we searched for this book, one book for 3 hours. All right, and we finally figured out that we were at the wrong mountain peak. Okay, so we had to go from one mountain peak to this other mountain peak to get to the right location because we made a navigational error, and went to the wrong place basically. And after we had searched for 3 hours, we figured this out and backtracked to another mountain. We ran too far, okay, and we climbed. We did so many extra climbs, extra miles. I wish I knew how many extra miles that I did climbing, looking for this book on these mountain peaks that were just around me right here until we backtracked and went to the right mountain peak. And when we did that, we went right to the book. It was just amazing. The description of the course and where this book was hidden was spot on when you get to the right place. So you got to get to the right place. And we just made that navigational error.
Now you say we. Do you want
Yeah, yeah.
do you want to share who we was, or is that
So yeah,
information you
yeah.
don't want to share?
No, yeah, I will. Yeah. So we means so when I was running, and you kind of get into this group of people when you're running that end up being around you, I guess, that are running the same sort of race that you are, same pace or whatever. I guess you start working together, and there was three of us basically together the whole time. We picked up a couple of people here and there and lost a couple of people here and there, but three of us worked together the whole time. It was myself, Meg Eckert, and John Fagan. We worked together for 27 hours on that course. Um, all we found out, we got all 16 books. We just basically said, we're going to time out. We're not going to make it back to the start line in time to start another loop. We're going to time out, but we're going to do this thing. We're going to get all these books, no matter how long it takes us. We're going to find these books. We're going to run. We're going to do this loop. We're not quitting. We didn't quit. We never quit. Uh, and so we went around the loop, got all our book pages. Yeah, but it took us 27 hours. And that wasn't the only time we got lost and took a wrong turn. We made so many navigational errors. It was crazy. you, you wouldn't believe. You have to go from one point to another using your compass and end up at the right creek, at the right confluence or whatever of rivers coming together, or on the right mountain peak to find these books. And if you make a small navigational error, you could search for hours and hours looking for these books.
Was it? I would imagine with that group, you all were probably having a little bit of fun too. I would hope.
We were having a blast out there. There was frustrating times. We would get so frustrated when we couldn't find a book, but we would put our heads together. We would look at our maps. We would put our heads together, um, and we would think it out, talk it out, and it took a while, but we figured it out. We figured it out all together. We figured it out, and if it wasn't for them other two, I don't know, I might still be out there. But we all contributed.
Now, what would you say the hardest actual part of the trail was for you on that loop? Like, was there a section that you were like, oh man, this is awful?
Yeah. Believe it or not, it was not Rat Jaw. You want to know what the easiest part of the loop was? Rat Jaw. If you've heard of Rat Jaw, it's
wow.
famous. Rat Jaw is famous for being hard. Well, that's the easiest part of the course. I'll just tell you, Rat Jaw is easy compared to the rest of this course. There's this one place that he calls, I think it's called the Meat Grinder. It's a climb, and it's straight up. And when I say straight up, I mean, it is, if you trip and fall, or if you slip, you're going to scrape your nose on the mountain in front of you. That's how close the mountain is. It's straight up in the, I mean, going straight up in the air. And he calls that the meat grinder. And you're just tugging on roots, trees, anything that you can get a hold of to try to get some grip, because your feet are slipping out from under you, uh, because it's so steep you can't get any traction at all.
How long was that climb? Was it pretty long?
I wish I could measure it. It took like a couple of hours, I think, to make that
Oh
climb.
my
Holy cow.
gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. It was way up there.
It, I mean,
So
you were,
whenever you're doing these things, you're going from, it's from the, Laz places these books. They're either going to be at the bottom of a mountain or at the top of a mountain. So there's no in between. He's not going to let you climb halfway up the mountain. You're going to have to climb all the way up the mountain to the peak. And so that's what this is. It goes all the way from the bottom, all the way to the top, I think, to the tallest point in Frozen Head,
Wow.
almost maybe close to it. So it's probably like, I'm just estimating. It's probably a 2,500 foot climb, I guess, maybe, or something like that. But man, it's steep. It's called the meat grinder. That's the
your
hardest part of the course.
your Casio watch didn't measure elevation.
No, the Casio watch that he gives you does not measure elevation, so you don't know. Have no idea how much climbing you're doing. It
Man,
doesn't even it even, I mean, you have to decipher what time of day it is, because it has race time on it for starting at 0. So you only, you've been out there, the only thing you know is, oh, I've been out here for 17 hours. Let me calculate in my head what time of day it is. Don't even
Oh
know.
yeah.
when when your watch clicked over 24 hours, what
Yes.
do you think?
Um we were like, when I remember the moment that it happened, we were like, well, it's been 24 hours. I think what we thought is, oh, it's about to be daylight. It's going to be daylight soon. Yeah, because it started at like 6 a.m. So 24
Yeah,
hours later, it's almost getting daylight again. So that's
and
exactly what we thought.
and you still went 3 hours past that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We
Mm,
still went 3 hours because we were still searching for books out there and climbing mountains.
So
gosh.
during that time where how long does the normal lap take for the people that finished it?
So I think most people were doing it anywhere from 9 to 13 hours. The people that got to continue on a second loop. And what we learn, from being out there is that you have to have experience. If you don't have experience out there, if you've not done the Barkley before, you don't know, there's a huge advantage. What I learned, there's a huge advantage for the people, the veterans that have done this before. They kind of know how to do this thing. For us virgins, first time being out there, we're learning. The whole thing is a learning experience. And so we learned that day, that night, we learned a lot. And I hope I get a second chance at it. But yeah, it's a huge learning curve, steep learning curve.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna say I've ran the Barkley Fall Classic one time, and that was hard. And that loop is hard. Just
Hmm.
running in there in general. What you guys are doing is not that. Like
Yeah.
the Barkley Fall Classic is hard in itself. But take that and times it by about 100 because not only that, but like at least with the Barkley Fall Classic, for the most part, you're running on trails that are established in the park, and you're following a huge group of people,
Yeah.
300 people. Like it's a little easier. Uh, But man, what you guys are doing, you're having to go out here and literally like Naviteer and find books and tear out pages, and like there is no help. Like there's 40 of you, and that 40 is split up in probably like 20 different groups, and I can't even imagine like what that feels like. I know what the Barkley Fall Classic was like, but what you guys are doing is a whole nother level. And just to only have a Casio watch and a compass and I mean, it's crazy. I think it's a tradition though for Tennessee that is really cool.
Yeah.
It is.
Like that is something that nothing will ever come close to being anything like the Barkley, period.
No, I mean, it's world renowned. I mean, there's nothing like it in the world.
There's a reason that less than 30 people still to this date have ever finished it.
So
I think it's like 20 maybe.
Yeah. It was 26 people and it's 26 finishers, and 20 of them. Some of them were the repeats. There was at work today. He was asking me who's on the podcast this evening, and I told him, and I said the Barkley. He ran Barkley. He goes, well, "What's that?" I said, "Well, Google it." I said, "Google hardest ultra marathoner in the world."
I know, it's funny. I was talking to someone at work the other day because they were asking me about the Barkley, and I said, "Well, have you not ever seen the Netflix documentary that came out? Like it was on Netflix for a while," and they're like, "That's what that is."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah." I was like, "It's not on Netflix anymore." I said, "But it used to be."
Yeah.
And I said, "That's for everybody."
It's still on YouTube.
Yeah. And it's still great to watch. Like it makes you realize, like, I mean, it's cool because of what Laz has created and how he created it and how he has continued that. This race has never been about money.
No, it's not about money to him. Not at all.
And that is when something becomes special, is when there's not a monetary value on it. It's something that you're crafting and building yourself to build something that's a tradition. And that's what he's done. I mean, where else in the world do you show up at a race that you paid $1.60 to be in, and you hand him a license plate, or, I think it's a license plate if you're out of
It's a license. It's a license plate if you're a Barkley virgin. It's a license plate.
And then if you're
a veteran, then it's whatever he asks for. If you're a veteran,
it's like shirts or socks or whatever.
It could be a shirt. It could be socks. Whatever.
Yeah, and that's what's really cool is like it's never been about money. It's about creating an experience to get the most out of somebody.
It is. It's exactly what it's about. It's about seeing what your human limit is.
Yeah. And to think about what you said earlier, like you and 40 other people, 40. Think about that over the last, like this race started what? In the 80s? Or was it
1986, I believe. 86. Okay.
So think about that. That's still not a very large number of people.
Yeah.
You add all those years up, that's not a lot of people. 40 people at a time. And I mean,
no. And some repeats every year.
It's crazy. Like also when they were trying to shut the Barkley down.
Yeah.
And he fought hard to keep that open. He made concessions to how many people he would allow to do that off course and how many people he would allow for the Barkley Fall Classic. So he fought hard to even keep the race going.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's important to him.
Yep.
Well, we're almost an hour in, and we got to get to the end of this thing. So let me finish.
I feel like we just started.
I know. We might have to do another one. But now, so 24 hours, daylight comes. You finally find, so take us from the last book to the gate.
Okay. Well, okay. So the last book to the gate is like a quarter mile. You wouldn't believe it, but it's like a quarter mile to the gate from the last book. So when you find that last book, it's just a celebratory jog to the finish line.
Could you see the gate when you found the book?
No, you got to go down a mountain. There's some curves and you got to cross a river. The last thing that he makes you do, just because it's for his entertainment, is cross the is cross the river to the finish line because he just wants to see you run through the water one more time. So that was the finish line this year, was crossing the river and going and touching the yellow gate.
How how was the feeling of finally seeing Laz, seeing the gate, knowing that you at least know, I know you didn't like successfully complete it in time, but you still did the damn loop and you found every
Yeah.
page. Like
Yeah.
that,
We were proud of
be
that. We
be
were
proud
proud
of
of that.
that, because you could have easily have just gave up after the 13 hours was over, because that's the
Yep.
time out of the loop. But you
That's
didn't.
right.
You
That's
stayed
right.
out twice that time to find those books, and you probably hadn't ate shit in like what, 14 hours at
I
this
took enough
point?
food for 10 hours. I took enough food for 10 hours. I was out there for 27.
So I bet you were hangry.
No, I made it just fine. And the people that were out there with me told me I wasn't hangry. We were all nice, but I don't know. Maybe it's just part of being out there. We were just glad to be there. We said to ourselves, we are going to finish this loop. We are going to find these books, and we are not going to quit. We could have easily quit. We could have walked out of that place in totally different directions, and got out of there. But we wanted to find those books and finish that loop, no matter how long it took us. We weren't.
Yeah. Now, did you all run to the gate together?
We did. Yeah, we ran and touched the gate together because the three of us were a team at that point. We were going to finish together as a team. We didn't race out of there, anything like that. We just decided we're going to get this last book. We're going to run down this mountain together and touch that gate all at the same time. And that's what we did.
What did Laz say?
It's so funny. Laz says, in order to be successful at the Barkley, you have to run faster than one. Let's see, how did he word it? 1 mile per hour. You have to run faster than 1 mile per hour to be successful at the Barkley. That's what Laz had to say.
Sounds like that Yoda quote he does.
He's awesome. There will never be anyone ever like him, ever. He is one of the coolest race directors, just for that fact. Like, you never know what's going to come out of his mouth, but I guarantee you it's something that's going to make you think.
Yeah, and it made you think, and yeah, you're right, Laz. You have to do that. You have to run faster than 1 mile per hour to be successful.
So
But
now,
then they played taps, and that was nostalgic.
what did your wife do when she saw you? You've been gone at this point for 27 hours. She probably thought that you were gone, like really gone.
Yeah, so she did. She thought I was dead, I guess. But you know what they say at the Barkley is that no one's coming for you. No one's coming to find you. You have to get yourself out of there. And that is true to this day.
You proved that fact.
And that is true to this day. They have never went and got anybody out of there. Everyone has always self-extracted themselves from the Barkley. But anyways, back to your question. She was, I looked for her when I crossed and touched the gate. I'm like, I wonder if she's asleep, or I wonder if she's waiting on me, because this has been 27 hours. So I looked, I looked around, I looked at the crowd around me to see where she was, and I spotted her. She was there, standing there, taking my picture as I touched that yellow gate. And I asked her later, I said, did you just stand here all day waiting for me for 27 hours? And she's like, well, there were reports that came in from other runners that said you guys were out there and you were fine. And so I was a little bit scared, but then when the reports started coming in at like 20 hours, so other runners had seen us at like 20, at the 20-hour mark or something like that, and they had reported that we were fine, but we had been lost, and we were finding our books, and we were just going to complete the course. We had told them, we're just going to complete this thing. We're not quitting. So that communication got back And so that, she kind of knew that way that we were okay, but she was still scared to death because I didn't have food. I was drinking water from the creek every time I'd come to one. I wasn't filtering, I was just drinking the water from the creek. And so, she was a little bit worried about that fact that I didn't have food, but I made do with what I had. And I had enough. I really had enough. I made do with it.
When you say other runners, I'm guessing that was like John Kelly and others on their second loop.
Yeah, they made their second loop. John Kelly may not. He may have started. Yeah, he started a second loop. I don't think he finished a second loop. But there were some others that did finish a second loop and went out on a third loop. But so yeah, we got okay. You might as well say it. We got lapped out there, and those runners reported back and to us, and told them that we were fine. We were just getting our books done.
I mean, that's good in a way, but
Yeah.
I mean, being lapped out there, like, I mean, the fact that you finished the loop, how many people didn't even finish the first loop? Like, didn't even make it back to the gate?
There was like 10 people that finished the first loop in time. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
But how many actually stayed out and found all the books? None of them, probably.
Like the three of us. Like the three of us is all. Yeah.
I mean, that says something.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd go a long ways.
Yeah.
Laz won't forget that.
Yep.
I think there were others that tried and couldn't find them, but and then they took other, the Quitter's Road is what Laz calls it. Quitter's Road back to camp. So I hope Laz remembers that because we want to go back. We want redemption at this thing.
Yeah, I'm sure he will. I mean, because that's impressive to be out there that long and not just give up. Mentally, like that's impressive.
Yeah,
for
we
all
were not
three
giving
of you.
up.
And it's a good thing that you all three were together because I don't, it'd been hard to have done that by yourself the first time. So it sounded like you guys kind of like clicked and worked together good, and that's awesome.
Yeah, and even the front runners, then when we saw them, they were working together, trying to get that fun, what they call, Laz calls the fun run. That's 3 loops. Those front runners were, when we saw them, they were definitely working together to get that thing done. And so they didn't. Only one person got the fun run. 2 of them didn't make it back around on their third loop. But yeah, it was you. That bond that you have out there, that you meet people and work together to figure out these problems, is phenomenal.
Yeah,
that's cool. I'm glad you shared all that with us because that's pretty cool. Like to hear the inside of like how things went and like how things didn't go your way, obviously, but you stayed out there and you did it, and y'all ended up finding all the books. And man, to not have food though for 17 hours, and I guess you had no filter. You said you were just drinking straight out of the river.
Yeah, I had no filter. I was drinking straight out of the river. Every time I'd find one, I'd fill my water bottles up at the river. And, I'd pick a good spot though. It wasn't just some random mud puddle.
Yeah. Well, thank goodness for nice streams like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, and then we'll get into questions. If you could describe the Barkley in just a few words for what it meant to you, how would you describe it?
For what it meant to me, man, it was the epitome of everything that I've ever trained for, ever done. It was the hardest. I'm not exaggerating when I say this. It is the hardest thing that I've ever attempted in my life. And so to be able to go out there and just try to compete and finish that loop and find those pages and actually do the loop, even though we didn't do it in time, actually do the loop. It means so much to me in my running career. I'm honored. 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 I'm ho beyond words. It's it's incomprehensible to many until you've been out there and seen for yourself the Barkley. It's incomprehensible, and it's something that will stick with me till the day that I die. The people that I met out there, I'll never forget. That helped me. That we worked together with. It's a huge honor.
Well, I'm going to send Meg a message later just to let
Yep.
her know we just had you on the podcast because she'll love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. And
Yep.
that's such a cool experience and perfect way to sum that up. Like we can tell just by what you said how much this meant to you, and it's really cool, and that's super special.
Yeah, it meant a lot. It meant a lot to me. It's something that I've worked for. It's been the goal. It's been my ultimate goal for years and years is to get to the Barkley. And so I signed this letter. I have to tell you guys this. I signed this little note years ago.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter made me, and I may have it. I would like to show it to you if I can find it right here.
Yeah.
I have this scrapbook that I made, or that my wife made me, that has all this stuff in it. But let me show you this note. So this is 12/4/21. Can you guys see that? It says, Daddy promised never to do the Barkley Marathon, even if he's invited. And so we got this right here signed. It's my daughter signed it and I signed it. And I had to go and ask for permission from my daughter if I could run the Barkley because I had signed this contract that said I wouldn't. And years ago.
Is that on like a Cash Express Post-it?
That's what that is a Cash Express Post-it.
I love it. So,
Yeah.
so had she heard you talking about the Barkley and didn't want you to do it?
She was scared of it, I think, just because she knew what it was. She knew that I was intrigued by it and thought, well, maybe he'll attempt it someday, but I don't want him to, so he's going to have to sign this. And that was in 2021. That was a while ago. She was a lot younger then and didn't I think she might have been a little scared. But, man, she's excited that I did it this time. She was so excited.
That's awesome. Man, talk about a full circle moment, right?
Yeah, yeah.
How cool. That's awesome.
And we got a picture with Laz holding this note right here.
Do you really?
That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, you've got to send us that. I'll put that in the podcast pictures when we release it.
All right.
That'd be awesome.
We can do that.
I might even put a picture. Send me a picture of the Post-it. We'll try to incorporate it into the podcast cover.
All right. We'll do that. But Laz he wanted us to know that no one is ever invited, even though this note says even if he's invited. He wants to know no one's ever invited to run the Barkley. He made sure that was clear.
All right. Well, Jason, I've got to ask you one more question, then we'll turn it over to Matt.
All right.
And this is a question we ask every runner on this podcast. And the question is, you started ultra running in 2020. You started marathoning before that. Your biggest goal has been to get into the Barkley. And you get into the Barkley and you spend 27 hours looking for books. No food, no water, striving to find water out of streams. But why? Why do you do it? Why train and run all these miles and do all of this work? I mean, why do you run?
It's to show that, to me, it's to show that I can do these hard things. I can do these hard things. And our body is capable of so much more than we will ever realize that it is. Your mind will tell you can't do it, but your body can do it. And you just have to show yourself that you can do hard things, and then that translates to life. Okay. So when you do these hard things and that translates straight to life, you can do hard things in life too. And that's why I do it.
Love it. Love it. Love that answer. All right, Mr. Williams.
All right.
I think you have a lot of listener
we got
questions.
a lot of listener questions.
I can't wait to hear these. I want to know. I want to know what
But
they're asking.
I want to go back to what we were talking about right before he asked why about a contract that you had signed. This question is: has your daughter accepted that you break contracts?
Oh,
I think
man.
she has accepted that I break this one contract, and that's the only contract that I'm allowed to break. So I think she's accepted that, but that's the only one.
No, that was good.
Let's also, I mean, let's give Dad some like bonus points here because he kept that Post-it.
Yeah.
He kept it.
Hey, it stayed on our refrigerator since 2021. It's been stuck on our refrigerator. Yeah, that's where it stayed. So now it stays in my scrapbook.
Yeah, I mean, so you took it serious.
Yeah, I took it serious all the way up until the time that I had to ask her for permission if it was okay if I did this, because I had signed this contract that said I wouldn't.
If she would have told you no, what would you have done?
I guess I would have been heartbroken. I guess I would have been so heartbroken. But I would have had to stuck to the contract.
Man, that'd been rough, wouldn't it? All that work.
Yep.
No, sorry, can't do it, Daddy.
Yep. I signed it. I guess I'd have stuck to it.
All
But
right.
she was gracious. She allowed me.
The next one is: are you going to apply again?
100%. I will apply again. I have unfinished business out there
I love it.
that I want to go conquer, and I think I'm capable of it. And I've learned from my mistakes this year. There were huge mistakes that were made out there, and like I said, the learning curve is steep. I mean, it is a tough learning curve, and I will definitely apply again. I hope they're gracious enough to let me in again.
I'll tell you what, Jason, I've been thinking about this and what we can do this summer. I'm gonna go out there and throw books and draw you them out.
Yeah, that's what we need to do. That's what we need to do.
We're gonna do some practicing. I'm gonna put like those kids' Goosebumps books out there.
We
and
can put some books on the Cherokee.
Yeah,
course.
See, we can do that too.
Yeah. There you go. That would be fun. That would add a fun element to it.
Goodness.
Well, speaking of the Cherokee, my next question is: when are you signing up for the Cherokee?
Did someone actually
really right here?
I haven't discussed this with my wife yet.
Wow, someone really did ask
that. They did ask that.
I haven't discussed this. Did Mary ask that question? Because she's been on me.
I cannot tell you who asked this question. But you are on the right track.
I haven't discussed that with my wife yet.
Oh, that's good. Perfect timing. The next one is was whatever type of hill training or strength program you did in Barkley Prep enough, or do you need more?
I feel like I did enough physical training. It was just the navigation, finding the books and deciphering Laz's clues as to where they were. That was the whole. I mean, my physical training was spot on. The weights and the hill repeats, trails, long runs, all of it was spot on. I felt good out there and felt like I could have gone farther had I been allowed. So the body was good. The mind was good. Being up all night was fine. So yeah, I was perfect physical shape to do it. Dude, I feel like
that's awesome. And I mean, to be honest, like to be out there 27 hours, you had to be.
Yeah.
And we were discussing that as we were going back to camp. Me and the two that I was running with were discussing that, discussing how good we felt and wish we would have been able to go on, wish we had got done a little bit quicker so we could go on, because we feel like we really had the physical capability to finish at least a fun run at this thing.
Yeah.
So we got to go back because
Oh, absolutely.
we know we can do it.
Absolutely.
We just have to get this navigation down right. Get to the right point and find these books.
Well, you got the first step out of the way, and that's just getting a little bit of experience doing
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's nothing really to train you for that. That's the hardest part. Like, you cannot train for that. You just have to go experience it.
It's experience, and that's where, th- there was a couple of Barkley versions I think that went more than one loop, but I think they probably kept up with the front runners and followed them around.
Yeah.
We came up on a second loop guy that was lost because he lost the front run people. He wasn't following them anymore, and he couldn't figure out where the books were because all he did was follow them around the course.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
that could easily, that could turn out bad.
It can work well until
easily
you can't
turn
hang
out
on.
bad.
All right. The next question is: you stayed out there for 27 hours. Did you take any naps or sleep on the trails at all?
not at all. The only reason we would have stopped at all was just to look at our map and figure out which direction we needed to go. And if we were searching for books, we weren't running or anything. We were more of scavenging, I guess, searching for books. So, but we were moving the whole time. We didn't stop nap, not once.
That's awesome.
Did you take any caffeine with you, or are you just wide awake?
I did take
Okay.
caffeine.
Yeah.
Driving Energy from Eddie's Health Shop
Oh, cool.
is my go-to. Yep. So that's what I use.
Driving Energy. What is that?
Is that the chocolate bar?
It's the chocolate bar that Eddie makes.
Okay.
Yep.
I guess I did realize it's called Driving Energy.
Yeah, one that's got like a little,
it's a
gas
little
thing
square.
on it,
It's just a little square piece of chocolate, and it's got a little gas gauge that can
the little gas gauge on it.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
They got those at a lot of the gas stations.
That's my caffeine go-to, but also Tailwind, caffeinated Tailwind, and then I think maybe some of the food that I had probably had some caffeine in it. Some of the coffee flavored foods had some caffeine in it.
What part felt the most surreal? The conch, the course, or Laz?
Wow, that's a tough question because it's all so surreal. I don't know that I can pinpoint of those things which one feels the most surreal.
Just the Barkley in general, probably, right?
Yeah, the Barkley in general is surreal. It's all so surreal. Laz is a fun person to be around. He is so witty with what he says and can think of the funniest things to say. And he loves to tell stories. So if you're around him, he's going to tell you stories about when he was running and his running career. And when he was out there doing these crazy adventures, he's going to tell you about all that stuff. So being around him is pretty surreal. But also being there and seeing all that stuff is real. I can't pinpoint what's the most.
Yeah, just that whole experience would be just epic. How difficult is it to make your own copy of Laz's map and then follow it?
It is difficult. It takes time. When there's 40 people, there's only one master map, and there's 40 people surrounding this master map, and you're trying to copy it. You have to copy it exactly because they put the X where the book is, and they take time to make sure that X is exactly where the book is. So you must copy your map exact. Because if you copy it a little bit wrong, you'll do like we did and end up in the wrong place. And that's a learning. I learned that the hard way. My map was not copied the best. I didn't think I needed to. I thought maybe I just needed to get it close, but then I realized I needed to have it exact. But so yeah, I learned that.
Hmm. Yeah, that would be hard with everybody surrounding that trying to
Yeah.
copy it, and yeah, that.
Yeah, you got to kind of nudge your way in there, but
Yeah. How long do
and
you have to copy it? You got an
I mean,
hour, 2 hours?
you've got all evening, but you also want to. So if you get there early, the day before the race starts, like we got there on Friday morning, and I think he put the map out like at noon or something like that. So you had all evening, and it just sits out, and so you had all evening to copy it down, but you also want time to study it because you have to read the course description, and then it's like reading a book. Okay, it's like 15 pages long, the course description. So uh and you got to study it and
Did
understand
you
exactly what it's talking about.
did you read the course description in Laz's voice?
It sounds like it's in Laz's voice when you read it, because everything you have to decipher exactly what it means, and everything Laz writes you have to decipher it because it means something special.
I mean, how cool though?
Yeah,
Who's
it
going to
is.
sit down and spend that many hours writing a course description every year?
Yeah.
How cool is that, though? That is so cool.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
that's a
is.
lot of work on
That's
Laz's
a lot of
part
work.
for a race that he charges
And it,
$1.60 for.
yeah, and Carl, so Carl is Laz's helper now that Laz is getting on up in years, I guess. And
Yeah.
I think Carl does a lot of this nowadays, but Laz is the one that created it, and so
Yeah.
he's the one that gets most of the credit. But I think Carl does a lot of that nowadays, but instead of Laz.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's still both of them. They both do it. I think Laz has to approve it. I mean, everything that goes on out there has to be approved by Laz.
Yeah. I think I remember reading or hearing something about Laz had given Carl everything, basically, but Laz still really does the backyards. That's his thing.
I think Carl got Barkley and Ball State.
Mm-hmm.
That,
He's at least like race directing. Obviously, Laz is still involved, but like Carl has become like the official race director, but Laz still wants to do the backyard. So that's just what I think I read that somewhere, but it's still cool because Carl has been with Laz so long.
Yeah.
That's ingrained into him now too, which is kind of cool. Like,
yeah, they act the same. It's like they're one and the same person.
All right.
Boy, he does have a lot of questions.
He's got about 3 more. When did you know that the Barkley had won and that you wouldn't complete one more loop?
Whenever the watch said 13 hours, we knew we weren't going to make it. No, it was a little bit before that. When we couldn't find that book up on that mountain, we searched for it for 3. We knew that we were going to time out at that point. But up until that point, we had plans on doing a fun run. We felt good enough and were trained enough, all 3 of us, that we could do this fun, but that we could do the fun run. But frustration set in when we couldn't find that book. And then we realized that no matter what we did or how fast we did the rest of the course, we were going to probably time out at that point. It was that book 5 that we searched so long for because we made a wrong turn.
Man.
What was the biggest surprise that you encountered at the Barkley?
Biggest surprise. The whole thing is a surprise because you don't know what's going to happen. The biggest surprise, man, I don't know. It's all a surprise. I don't know how to answer that other than it's all a surprise. And okay, I guess the biggest maybe surprise was whenever we were copying the map down, everybody still thought we were going to go clockwise, I think, because the map was drawn clockwise. And so we all still thought we were going to go clockwise. And even the book numbers were posted on the map clockwise. And so it wasn't until we started later in the evening when everybody started reading their course description after the map was already copied that we figured out that we were going to go counterclockwise and we were picking up the books in a reverse order. So the 16th book was the first book that we picked up. It was labeled number 16. That was, I guess, that was the biggest surprise, was that we were going to end up going counterclockwise, because that had never happened in the Barkley.
Boy, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of weird starting out like that.
Yeah, even the map was drawn clockwise, but then, reading the course description, we were going counterclockwise.
Is that it?
That's all the questions. The last question is something we've already covered, so we'll let that one ride. But that's all the questions I got.
Well, Jason,
It's
do you
been
have any
fun.
questions for us?
No, it's been awesome. It's been fun. It doesn't feel like we've been on here for however long, an hour and a half or whatever. But yeah, those questions were awesome. They're fun. Glad everybody asked them. The Barkley's a secret race, so not going to tell anything about the secrets of the Barkley, but it's the most secretive race in the world. Laz wants to keep it that way. So the entry process is all a secret. And
that's what I was about to say. Like, just trying to even enter the race, like to apply, you have to do work.
If you want to get in, you'll figure it out.
Yeah. Yep. Well, Jason, man, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the podcast and sharing your story, telling us your running journey. Obviously you're a phenomenal runner, with a great background of races. So it's really cool to see. And then getting to do something that's so nostalgic, obviously being from Tennessee and being in Tennessee and living in Tennessee and getting to do the Barkley is even probably more special to you because you've grown up, around that race. And I know you've been training in that area a lot. And, to finally get to do something that's been like a lifetime goal is really cool. So glad that you got to do that experience and then share it. Getting to share it with us is cool. Getting to hear the story and just your thoughts and recollection of the race and the fact that you got to run with Meg. I mean, what a small world it is. We literally just had her on the podcast last week. So, and she said nothing. She said nothing about that. We had no idea she was going to be in it. So that's what's really cool is our two guests in a row have both been, Barkley runners. So
I know when he sent that out, yesterday, or he sent the cover photo today for the podcast. And I'm like, isn't that crazy? Back-to-back weekends, we got people that ran the Barkley. And Meg said nothing.
She didn't say anything about the Barkley.
No, we're looking just like we would do with you. We went over all of her races, and maybe she did make a comment of there's some that's not on there. Yeah. But she said she had a whole list of New Zealand or something like that. So, but nothing. And then I saw the picture that you had posted, and she was right beside you. I'm like, that is Meg. Just talk to her, and she's nothing.
That is such a small world. It's crazy.
Yeah. But what's so awesome in the world today is that in this sport, there's still integrity and people still follow that rule. I love that. And that's what I love about the sport is anybody could gain popularity and spill the beans, but then they would never get to race it again. But people in the sport have integrity. They care. That's what's so special about trail running and this community is it is a family. You can run your very first trail race and have the worst day ever. But I guarantee you someone's going to walk by and try to make your day a little better or run by you and try to make your day a little better. Because that's what the sport is about.
Yeah.
It's camaraderie.
Yes. Yeah. It is.
Ultra running is so special and, trail running is special in general, but ultra running, there's just this another level of people understand it's hard and we're all dealing with certain things, like life's hard. And when you're out there doing your thing, like, you can be the best runner, the worst runner, it doesn't matter. You all feel like you belong. And man, what a feeling that is. It's so cool.
It is.
And you even got to see that at the Barkley. Like,
It is.
that's so cool.
So, who would have thought? Who would have thought? Yep, that's right. That you would
I just love the sport. And thank you so much for sharing that, Jason. So thank you.
Thank you all for having me. I've had a blast.
Well, thank you, man. Well, we wish you the best of luck. Get your application ready, and we'll talk more at the Cherokee.
Oh, okay.
No, seriously though, thank you, Jason. We truly appreciate you, and best of luck. We'll have to get you on here again, man. This has been fun.
It has been fun. Thanks.
Thank you, Jason.